What is up, you guys, and welcome back to another gameplay video. I am back with what I think is one of the best decks this format, Blackbeard. And today we are up against Dracula Mihawk, the new green deck coming out in OP14. This leader feels really insane against leaders that are slash attribute, since he's just a 6,000 power leader for the entire game, because most 6,000 power leaders only have 3 life, but this guy gets 5. So I think it's important to metagame around this and choose a leader that isn't a slash attribute. Blackbeard has a great matchup against a ton of decks, especially because many of the best cards this format include on-play effects. So once we get into the mid-game, I'm going to start using my leader's effect every single turn to completely shut my opponent down. The most important card in your deck is definitely Full Lead, and I mulliganed to try to find one, but I unfortunately wasn't able to. I want to get cards into my trash as quickly as possible so that I can start taking advantage of Jesus Burgess's power gain effect as well as my Kuzans, but unfortunately I wasn't able to see any of these cards. My opponent has their stage card, which is just the best card to see in their deck. It just replaces itself immediately and also gets them an extra Dawn card at the end of every single one of their turns. Plus, because it's just an active card on their field, they can just rest it to restand 3 Dawn cards, so it just gets them tons of advantage. My opponent surprised me by stacking Dawn onto their Kikunojo and attacking me for 5. I just feel like if they're going to attack for 5, you might as well attack with your leader first, and then stack the extra Dawn onto your character if you really want to. That way I don't know what's coming and it's tougher to play around. Since I saw that he had extra Dawn up, I knew that it was likely that he was going to attack bigger with his leader, so I was able to counter out of the first swing, which I might not have done if he just swung with his leader and still had 6 Dawn up. And I still haven't seen a single Kuzan, but that does change when I search with my Lafitte. I end up grabbing him because he's just such a good blocker, able to stop an attack obviously, but also he can revive one of my Jesus Burgesses that's in my trash. I'm just going heavy into his life because there's not a whole lot else to do, and then I drop my Kuzan, ready to revive something the next turn. He plays a 7-cost Shanks, which is definitely one of the best cards in his deck. On my turn, all of my characters will be reduced by 1,000, which is just super painful. He's also able to rest one of my characters, which is just terrible for me, because he can just rest my blocker. Now I am still in a pretty bad position, and I'm just unable to find any searcher cards, so I devise a plan to just pop his Shanks. So I use Stronger, which actually ends up drawing me a card, and it's a My Age, which I fire off, and I find Full of Lead. So suddenly, I finally can search my deck, and as crazy as it sounds, I used a second Stronger, and then a Van Augur, to finally use the Doc Q to pop his Shanks. I felt it was really important to get his bigger bodies off of the field while I could, especially since I didn't really have anything else going on. I even used my Full of Lead to discard my 10-cost Teach, because it didn't really matter anyway. I was going to be discarding it with my leader's effect. So I was able to get an extra card into the trash, and I was even able to finally find the 5-cost Kuzan, so when I block with my 6-cost Kuzan, I can bring him right back. My opponent attacks over my Doc Q, which draws me a card, and then they attack with their leader, which I can just freely block with my Kuzan. Then they drop a 9-cost Shanks, which doesn't do anything because I negated their on-play effects. With Full of Lead on the field, I just use it to search my deck. I just grab another Full of Lead because I know I'm just going to use my leader's effect to discard it. I might as well keep the 2k in my hand. And here I don't have a lot going on, so I just stack 5 Dawn onto my leader and swing at his life for 10. And then I'll stack 5 Dawn onto my Van Augur and swing at his life for 11. This was definitely better than nothing, and he did end up using 2 of his events to actually counter out of the second attack, which is understandable, but I don't know if it's the correct play. In any case, I'm happy that I got 2 of these events out of his hand, so I won't have to worry about them again in the future. My opponent takes the opportunity to start attacking over my board, which is definitely the right play. So I'll just use my 6-cost Kuzan to block, and get a Jesus Burgess onto the field that already has 9,000 power. This will make it much harder for him to attack over it, but he still is able to. After he plays his Tashigi, he rests a card to get more Dawn, and unfortunately I just lose my Jesus Burgess there. There is hope though, because I have full lead on the field, so I can still search my deck and try to find another Kuzan or more 10-cost Blackbeards. So when I fire off the full lead, I am able to find another Kuzan, so I use the remaining 4 Dawn to put 2 onto my leader and swing 7 into life, and 2 on my Van Augur to swing 8 into life. And they are in a tricky position now with pretty low cards in hand, and they do counter out of one of them with another event, so I know that they gotta be running low on events soon. And using all of the cards in my hand, I discard with my Legion's effect to stop their on plays, as well as playing down my 6-cost Kuzan. It definitely feels risky, but I have 3 life cards and a blocker, so while he can attack really low and there's nothing I can do about it, I will be able to get a bunch of cards in my hand and more cards on my field. He gets over my Van Augur, which draws me into a 10-cost Teach. I'm so stoked to see it, let's go. Now I'll be able to stop his 9-cost Shanks from attacking on the following turn, so his field suddenly doesn't look as big anymore. He does drop the 10-cost Lawn Beppo, although it doesn't have its on-play effect, so he's not able to gain the leader boost, which I'm really happy to see. He attacks with his 2-cost Kid Killer, and I just have to take that life card, and then he attacks with his leader, and I'm able to block it. So I am feeling really good about this all of a sudden. First things first, I'm always using full lead, and I'm able to find another 6-cost Kuzan. This is just so great, so if I don't have the opportunity to play another 10-cost Teach, I will be able to get another blocker, and then another Jesus Burgess onto the field. With Teach, I negate his leader, and stop his Lawn Beppo from attacking next turn. Shanks actually had the same amount of power, so it didn't really matter. But next turn, if he doesn't get a blocker up, it's looking like it's going to be game over. So without the Lawn Beppo attacking, he only has 4 attacks, and I have 2 life and 2 blockers. So I'm feeling really safe. Again, I think it makes more sense to just swing with your leader first, or if you really wanted to swing for 6, then swinging with Tashigi, because by committing 4 Dawn, I'm able to plan around his attacks a little bit better. If he still had 10 Dawn available, I wouldn't really know which direction he's going in. Then he attacks with his leader for 7, and I decide to block this one with my Kuzan and get a Jesus Burgess onto the field. I guess my opponent realized that they won't be able to finish off the game here, so they pivoted and started attacking my characters. When he attacks into my Jesus Burgess, I just block with my Teach. And then when he attacks with his Shanks, I'm able to discard my 6-cost Kuzan from my hand. It's just a 1k counter, but because I had 23 cards in my trash, the extra Kuzan in my trash makes it 24, boosting my Jesus Burgess by another 1000 power. This is super important to keep in mind because it really helps you make the most of all of the counters in your hand and can help get you out of sticky situations. Now that I have the Jesus Burgess on the field, and seeing as though he has no blockers on his field, I know that it's basically game over. I attack with my Jesus Burgess, forcing him to take his last life card, and then I attack with my Blackbeard, and I win. That game turned out to be closer than I thought. I had a pretty bad starting hand. I wasn't able to find any of my Kuzans or my Searchers, which are definitely the most important cards in your deck. The link to my deck list is in the description, so check it out if you want to play. I think that Blackbeard is a really solid leader going into the meta because his floodgate effects do serious damage to so many characters, but also people just aren't expecting him anymore ever since Emu entered the format. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps me out. And if you're interested in playing against me or playing in an online tournament, go ahead and join my Discord. The link is in the description. I'm trying to get massive tournaments going, and for that, I need your help. But other than that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.